Good morning. This is breakfast today. 3 eggs, sausage, jalapenos, onions. Um, what else? I sauteed the peppers and onions in butter. Topped it with some Cholula chipotle sauce and 1 avocado with salt. And as I was cooking this, I was snacking on some Havarti cheese. I probably had about, I don't know, 3 or 4 ounces. Hello and good afternoon. I'm getting my walk in during my break. It's not too sunny out today, but I'm glad it's not raining because I couldn't walk during the rain, obviously. So it's nice to be outside. I might have weighed myself this morning and I like the results. I'm just hoping it I'm hoping it holds out until Friday, the official weigh-in day. But I feel like I'm doing pretty good with the intermittent fasting. Someone commented on yesterday's video the amount of calories I ate, and I didn't realize they said it was like 1,200 to 1,500. So obviously I'm not counting calories. I'm just eating until I'm full and cutting off my eating time. So that'll definitely reduce the amount of calories. I'm also not snacking either. Well, this morning I had some cheese during the time I was cooking breakfast, so guess that technically counts as snacking, but it was also part of my breakfast meal. But anyway, I'm just hoping it works out for me. But we shall see on Friday. I'm going to keep walking. So this is lunch today. 1/3 rack of ribs and a little bit of sugar-free barbecue sauce. I'm about to go for round 2 around the block 5 times. Not sure if I mentioned it earlier, but earlier's walk was 5 laps. So I'll do 5 more laps to complete my 10, which equals a little over 4 miles. I hope you guys are well this Tuesday evening. I just looked over a few comments. Actually, there were more than a few from I think the 23rd's video, February 23rd's video. There's just some conversation going back and forth about fasting, the benefits of fasting, and someone thought that you can eat calories as long as you count how many calories. I mean, you can eat whatever you want as long as you count calories, which calories, I believe calories play a role. Obviously, they play a role. However, for me, it's not the only deciding factor, because I know if I eat, say, 1,000 grams of sugar, if I eat candy throughout the day, that's going to make me hungrier. I'm going to start craving more food. I think of a time when a couple of years ago, I was on a keto way of eating, and my boss wanted me to try Whole 30, and Whole 30 was pretty similar to probably not. I can't say it was similar to what I was eating with keto. I feel like it was just the addition of fresh fruit. You could eat as much fruit as you wanted to. It was probably more similar to the Mediterranean diet, I think, and I think the Mediterranean diet probably allows fruit. But anyway, I tried the Whole 30 diet, and I think I got some bananas, and bananas actually sometimes hurt my stomach, but I like to eat them. So I got some bananas, probably like 2 bunches of bananas, and I was just eating as many bananas as I wanted because the diet allowed you to do that. But the bananas, of course, have fructose in them, and I was starting to crave more and more food. And that's when the cravings for fast food came back, and all the bad processed carbs. So if you can count calories and have sugar, then go ahead and do that if that works for you. But for me, it doesn't work for me. Yeah, if I had the willpower to eat some sugar and not go beyond let's say 1,800 calories. I don't know. I don't know if at that amount of calories if I would lose weight or not. But if I had the power to do that, okay. However, why don't I want to make it easier on myself and not give in to sugar when I know I struggle so much with those cravings? So when the sugar spikes and drops, I believe is when the cravings occur. So like if you know that happens from eating sugar or fructose or any form of sugar, it's like why do you want to keep doing that to yourself? It just seems much more logical to me to eat proteins or fats or both and be satisfied from those, be satiated and you know it's kind of funny because like you hear protein. I believe protein. I don't know which one takes longer to digest. Um, but I've heard protein and sits in your stomach. Probably protein takes longer to digest. Protein will make you feel satisfied for a while, and that's true because I think it just takes longer for your body to digest proteins. But on with fat, I feel there's something different about fat. Obviously, there's calorie wise. I think there's seven or I forget the value now, 7 or 9 grams of calories. No, 7 or 9 calories in 1 gram of fat. Whereas like carbs and protein is 4 calories per gram. Um, so I just feel when I eat fat, like it satisfies me in a mental type of way. And I know even protein, once it hits your stomach, it releases hormones. Your body releases hormones that tell you to stop eating. But I still feel like there's something, at least for me, there's something different about when I eat fat. I feel more satisfied, and I feel like it lasts even longer because if you're eating high fat, I just feel like it's a super rich food, and just for some reason, I feel much more satisfied. Maybe, yeah, I was just thinking like if I didn't feel hungry. I feel like when I have high fat, yeah, I don't feel as hungry also. Um, but I can't really tell. I feel like fat keeps me more satisfied than protein does. Um, but that's just me. I know, like the other day when I think it was yesterday, I had a bowl of eggs and sausage for breakfast. I think that was primarily protein. I had the avocado also, which is high in fat. But I don't know, just the combination of the fats and proteins kept me satisfied for quite a while. Then when I had lunch yesterday and also today, I had those ribs, the 1/3 rack of ribs. Um, the ribs are very high in fat. So I guess I can't, from those meals, I can't really determine what made me feel satisfied more, protein or fat. But I do know years ago when I first started keto, I think I was tracking my macros much more when I first started keto, and I was doing primarily fat. So I was having things like fat shakes, which you can do MCT oil, cream cheese, you can do almond butter, avocados. So I was doing those and also making fat bombs, which is kind of like a little chocolate you would make yourself if you're craving chocolate or just craving a snack. You could also do like cream cheese cake or cheesecake fat bombs. Um, I was eating those too. So I was definitely getting much more of the fat macro back then. And I feel like it just keeps me more satisfied. I've noticed there's times also when I crave sugar, instead of eating something sugary, if I eat something high fat, like it satisfies that sugar craving and it lasts quite a while. So I feel like for me, there's a difference in the way I feel satiated from those two um, macros. But yeah, I mean, I've read quite a bit in the past about doing keto and also intermittent fasting and just fasting for longer periods of time. There's some videos also. I'm pretty sure Jason Fung. I really like Jason Fung's books. Um, to me, it's when you read it and it makes sense. It's like this makes sense to me, so this is what I'm going to do. It's like there might be studies out there about losing weight, counting calories, but for someone like myself who was significantly overweight, I mean, my highest was 401 pounds back in 2017. I'm sure my metabolism was all screwed up. I mean, it had to be at that weight, and I was craving sugar constantly, sugar and carbs. So I think when you're at that weight, in that state, in that health state, I think for me at that time, high fat really helped a lot because I just feel like it helped control those cravings for sugar and carbs more. Um, like, for example, I imagine if I ate all the chicken I wanted to eat, white breast chicken, some people like in the past have done, I think they call it the bro diet. It's just boiled chicken and boiled or microwave steamed vegetables. Um, like I could eat a lot of protein and feel full, but at the same time, I would still be craving sugar. It's kind of like, sometimes when you have Thanksgiving, you can have a huge meal, but you still crave the sugar. It's kind of like that. Like I could eat all the protein I wanted, but I would still be craving sugar. Whereas with fat, I guess that's what I'm trying to explain. It's like fat, I don't have that. Like if I eat a lot of fat, then I'm full and I don't think about desserts or anything. Like fat completely shuts that craving off for me. So I don't know if everyone is like that, but I've definitely noticed that in myself. So getting the fat in my diet, I think is important to control those cravings. Um, But yeah, as far as intermittent fasting go, like I said, I've read some books about it in the past and watched videos, so I can't explain it well. Like Shade M16, I agree with like everything you said in that video. To me, it just seems logical and it makes sense. Um, when you intermittently fast, there's a video. If you look up a video called the Fat Thermostat, yeah, the Fat Thermostat, it talks about how when you go into, I think it was talking about calorie counting, or like when you do a fast that lasts, I think, I don't know, I forget if it was a short term fast or a long term fast, but if you like starve yourself and don't eat for a while, your body has this memory of the weight that it wants to be, and that's why so many people yo-yo diet. That's what I've done in the past. It's because your body wants to regain the weight when you lose it, because it feels like that's, for whatever reason, it's I guess probably years ago when we had forage for food and we weren't sure if we would survive through the winter. Our body wants to store fat, so the body wants to go back up to that weight. Whereas with the fat thermostat, if you intermittently fast, Jason Fung talks about how that lowers the thermostat. So like instead of your body wanting to weigh like 300 pounds, you intermittently fast. Supposedly, what will happen is your body will gradually reduce what it wants to weigh. So when you get down to 50, it won't try to go back up to 300. That's just kind of an easier way to keep the weight off. Um, so I can't really say I've experienced that yet because I feel like I've done intermittent fasting in the past, but I wasn't really, I wasn't consistent with it. Um, so I can't really say for experience, but I mean, I will say with doing keto in the past, yes, I did gain weight. I put some weight back on ever since the pandemic, and just that whole change of life. I mean, that was a big change of life from going to the office 5 days a week to suddenly being at home 5 days a week or 7 days a week all the time. That was a huge like mental blow for me, and the change of life and the yeah, it was really just the change of life, like being at home all the time and eating, being at home and being able to eat constantly just didn't help. Excuse me. And then of course, I feel like I exercise more. I mean, obviously, I got up and went to work and I had that routine, but also at work, I would go to the gym on site sometimes. So there was just a point like, well, I mean, also with the pandemic, a lot of things were locked down, so I couldn't even go to the gym if I wanted to. Obviously, I could have walked around the block like I'm doing now, but I guess at that time I was, not focused on my weight or my health that much. So that really took a toll on me, and stress wise also, as everyone experienced through that time, 2020, it all affected us differently. But that's when I put on a lot of weight. I guess from 2020 to my next, I mean, the 400, I was 401 in 2017, and then I think in 2023 I got up to 353 in September of 2023. That's, I forget what kind of triggered it at that point, but that's when I decided I don't want to be this weight anymore. So I started losing weight. I started doing the keto diet again because that's what worked for me in the past. And then that's when I started this channel in February of 2024. Um, so that was like my little up and down time. I forgot why I was talking about that, but I don't know. Uh, I just, yeah, I'm hoping, I'm doing intermittent fasting to see some more results because I've just, I was thinking back to when I went on the trip to Europe in September of last year. I looked back at my Fitness Pal app and the way I tracked, and I was like, I think I was at 290, 291 before the trip. I don't know when I weighed myself, so the weight fluctuates plus or minus 5 pounds with water weight. So I don't know if I was truly at that weight, but I know the scale read that weight at one time because that's what I recorded. And I just got kind of frustrated with myself. Probably not being, feeling like I'm not being consistent enough or just doing enough to lose weight. So that's, I guess, why now I'm doing this intermittent fasting because I think it will work for me. Um, so I don't know how long I'm going to do intermittent fasting. I think it is a healthy protocol to do, especially for someone that's my size. Um, so hopefully I can continue it until I reach my goal, I guess. I'm not saying I'll be consistent every day with it. I'm sure there will be days and things I do. I know once the Epic Universe theme park opens in May, I won't be fasting. But I don't know. I think it's going to be a good tool for me to use to keep my weight in check. That's what I think. Um, so, anyways, I don't know. I wanted to talk a little bit about that. Um, I don't want to piss off the people who calorie count. Like I said, if that's what works for you, then by all means do it. Um, but for myself, that has never worked. I get, even if I do track calories, it might last for a week, if that long, and then I stop doing it. Um, so just got to find out what works for you, I guess. Um, I feel like, once you get to your goal weight, um, you won't have to continually fast or count calories. I think you just have to be cognizant of what you're eating at least, and maybe weigh in once a week, even when you're at your goal weight, to make sure you're maintaining that. Um, so yeah, I think there has to be a mentality change. Like I was never raised to worry about my weight until I got too heavy. Um, but I kind of mean more of in the way of taking care of yourself, like being aware of what you're eating, the ingredients you're eating, where your calories are coming from, what macro they're coming from. Like I was never raised that way. So I think to maintain weight, I think you just have to become more aware of those things, and it's a lifestyle change. So I think to get there, I think tools, depending on whatever helps you, tools like keto way of eating, whether that be through, I mean, you can get into ketosis with fasting or doing high protein or a high fat. There's various ways to get into ketosis. So whatever works for you and you can maintain and is what you believe is also healthy, I think is the best thing to do. Um, so I think that's all I wanted to say. Um, but yeah, I mean, if you're really interested in losing weight and you're counting calories and you're kind of on the fence, like this isn't working for me, I would highly suggest, and I've said this in past videos, it's been a while since I've talked about it, but the book by Jason Fung, the Obesity Code, is a really good book. I highly suggest you read that. If you don't want to read it, watch some of his videos. You could probably get the same information from his videos. Um, but it talks about insulin spikes and more so if you want to be like counting something, if you're to lose weight, to not necessarily count, but look at the glucose of foods you're eating because the glucose will cause insulin spikes. And he talks about controlling the glucose spikes. And I think there's actually a sheet you can download that gives glucose levels of foods. Um, so he really believes that to lose weight, it's about controlling the insulin hormone because he says that insulin, its primary function is to tell your body to store fat. So without insulin, your body's not going to store fat. He talks about how excess calories can be used for different functions of your body also. So to me, that just I don't know, it really resonated with me and made sense. And like I said, it's just much easier for me to do a I don't know if I would say a high fat type of diet. Lately has been more moderate. I feel like the fat and protein has been balanced, but I feel like that's definitely what I need to do to lose weight and to be consistent with it. So I'm just this intermittent fasting now. Obviously, one goal or one side effect of intermittent fasting is calorie reduction. So, like as someone pointed out, I think in yesterday's video, my calories were less than 1,500. Um, so it's like I just within my eating window of 6 hours from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. I'm eating. I don't want a snack, but I'm just eating my 2 meals during that time. So I have the breakfast and lunch. Because snacking, regardless of what food you eat, it does affect your insulin a little bit. Obviously, high sugary or carb foods affect it more, but even snacking can, from what I've read, increase your insulin levels. So it's ideal if you're not snacking, if you want to lose weight. Uh, so that's why I kind of just want to stick to the 2 meals. What I was going to say is just I'm eating I'm eating until I feel satiated for every meal. I probably could have ate more for today's lunch. I probably could have had a salad, but I was kind of pressed on time with just different stuff going on today. So I just had the ribs. Um, so, but yeah, I would say don't snack, and you don't have to worry about eating, or you don't have to worry about counting calories. I think if you have moderate or like balanced macros of fat and protein, I think your body will just naturally eat until you're full. And then if you're doing the intermittent fast, even if you get hungry after that time window, you just force yourself not to eat. I'm craving food now. I think I'm actually probably just thirsty, so I need to drink some water. But you just have to decide to not eat outside of your windows. That'll definitely reduce the calories. I know, like sometimes when I went out to the improv class or the acting class, I was getting hungry like after class and stopping at Publix and buying wings or whatever else. Um, so with the intermittent fast, I'm cutting all that late night eating out. I don't necessarily believe that late night eating causes. I know some people would say don't eat at night because then you're not active and it just stays in your belly overnight and turns to fat. I don't necessarily believe that either, but regardless, it'll be good to cut out the excess food that I probably really didn't need. I was just craving. So, anyways, I hope you could take something from this video. Hope you all have a good rest of your night. And please like and subscribe if you will. And I'll talk to you tomorrow.